So part 3 of this interview with Bill Taylor from the Titicut site is about your bifurcate points. Tell us about those, Bill.
Well, these are from the 9,000 to 8,000 year BP period, and we find so many in our area of the river because the heron, of course, come up in the spring by the thousands, and seal follow them up from the salt water. And in our area, there's not many rocks in the river, so they get up on land, and it's pretty easy to see how they could be, you could circle around and cut them off from the river and spear them. And seal fat is very, very good for burnishing hides and so forth. And of course, they got food, and you got the fur to use for clothing. And I think that's why there's so many here, because they could capture them. And we also have the early archaic Dalton points that we find quite a few of here. And this is from the same 8,000 to 9,000 period. And these have basal thinning and serrations on them, so it comes after the Clovis point. And then over here we have some of the cremation burial stuff, this one over here, that we found from the Susquehanna people. They cremated the body and then threw a lot of important artifacts in the fire, and then they had a secondary burial after the fire cooled. They took out the charcoal and pieces of calcined bone, usually the cranium, and some of the important artifacts that made it through the fire, and reburied them in a secondary burial nearby. And found some very important artifacts, big knives and so forth from that.
And some of the artifacts have been transferred back to the Wampanoags from the museum in their area of respect.
They have a room of respect, and they've taken over most of the burial goods that we've found through the Kohanna chapter and the Massasoit,
the Massachusetts
Archeological. I can't think of the chapter.
That's all right. Now, Bill, how many seal points, these bifurcate points, are there in New England?
I don't know about that, but we've got 93 in my collection, and I know of 32 that other people have found on my same site, so that's 125 that right in that 1 mile stretch.
And how many usually show up in New England?
One here, one there. Most big collections only have 4 or 5.
So
this is a concentration here, and I think it's because of the seal that they were able to spare them and get them.
So it just so happens your farm is located at the tip of a river where the seals came for thousands of years.
The river surrounds the farm by about 2/3, and we had an 80-acre farm there, and that's right in the middle of the Titicut reservation. The Indians had deeded this to their own tribes toward the end, and gradually, of course, white man got in and started buying it up, and the Indians died off, so the white man just took over everything eventually.
And your area would be current Wampanoag territory, correct?
It's also Massachusetts.
It's also a Massachusetts borderline.
Chickatawba owned from Duxbury to Titicut up to the Nip and back to Weymouth up in the Charles River area. So he came down here for the summer. That was his favorite resort in the summertime, and apparently got along good with the Wampanoags, or the Nemasket tribe, which was local.
And the Nemasket tribe covered part of your farm, and part of your farm was Massachusetts tribe. Yeah. And Duxbury, part of it was Wampanoag, and the current Pembroke was...
I think they got along good together. They spoke the same language and so forth. And
so your site, how many points total have been collected at your farm?
The farm itself is only about 750 because it hasn't been farmed in a normal manner. It was orchards for many years, and then we put them into hayfields, so there's not much, as far as row crops being planted each year.
But in your farm area, how many artifacts have...
Father and I have found over 12,000 artifacts in that mile stretch of the river.
12,000
Yeah.
artifacts, that's one of the
You gotta
largest
remember that
collections.
30% a hole, and so for every hole, when you get 2 broken ones, so,
And a broken one means that it's been used.
well, it was
Or-
broken, yeah, the point's
It's
gone.
either they broke it in making it, or they broke
They
it.
broke it
in-
on the spear, so
in
the
the
point
spear.
broke off. The spear's brought back to the home camp, and they take it off, discard it, and put a new one on for the next day's hunt. So I got tons of points and tons of tops, and I've matched up quite a few of them, but
And
most of
that
them.
means it was a home site,
Oh,
your
yeah,
area.
they're all home sites.
Well, thank you very much for your interview.
Okay.